Okay, so let's make a start. So first of all, good evening again, and thank you for joining on time. Much appreciated. This is obviously going to be a very important year. I don't need to sell you guys or tell you guys why this year is important. We all understand the importance of getting our kids to the right school or the right grammar school at that. And obviously, the kind of time frame they get through to their secondary school or the high school is very important. It's their formative years, so it's very important that we give them the right atmosphere. We surround them with the right kind of children, like-minded kids who wants to do well in life. And hence, grammar schools or, good private schools will be very effective for to that extent. So the fact that you're all here with your kids and wanting to listen to this and hear what's going to happen this year is a good sign in itself. Okay, so let me make a start with what we're going to do today. So, for those of you who are new to Progress Academy, very quickly, I don't want this to be a sales pitch anyway. So we've been around for about 9, 10 years, and most of our kids end up going to top grammar schools, including your Henrietta Barnett, QE Boys, top schools in Kent, Bucks, and all of those schools. Unlike a lot of other places, we actually teach the syllabus. We kind of go through, build the foundation. Every topic your child will be tested in 11 plus, and you will see the plan in a second, and which will have a lot of regular revisions of certain topics and tests as well. There's a lot of material that we provide to practice and improve and get the exam techniques honed before the exams are here. Uh, so we understand, every child is different, and we make sure as far as possible these sessions, although they're online, are very interactive. We kind of invite most of the children to come talk, explain what they've and share their knowledge and skills with other students. We encourage them to ask lots of questions. So we do kind of get some children who are very shy to start with, but by the time you see them when they're finishing 11 plus and about to take the exam, we find it difficult to push them, to calm them down, to keep them quiet. Okay, so that's how much the kind of they develop during these sessions. You will also notice that a lot of the session, your children are giggling, laughing, enjoying themselves. Don't panic. That's intentional. They have enough pressure as it is. So we make kind of a lot of fun jokes. You can ask Sai Sharma how fun we make some of these sessions. So trust me, they are learning. They're not just having laugh and forgetting everything. So, but that is important, right? So the journey itself is very important that they enjoy doing that. Okay, and yeah, we don't do any kind of selective screening or put you into initial groups or anything. That's not what we do. We believe every child is quite capable and we work with the children. I'm just going to skip this slide. I'm going to send this. You can take a look at some of the feedbacks that parents have given and all that, or you could just Google us up and you'll get that. Focusing on the meat of the session. So, firstly, I'm going to tell you briefly what we're going to cover this year in the next 4 to 5 months, firstly. So we're going to start obviously with English. So we're going to go through the comprehension skills, what kind of questions will come in the exam, what types of passages you'll be questioned on. We're going to make sure children are completely comfortable with that skills. We're going to train them on creative writing, different types of writing as well, like persuasive writing, for example, diary writing, or writing newsletter articles, and so on and so forth. These will be there in some exams, and not everybody will do creative writing, but most will do. But we'll talk about those kind of differentiations shortly. And spelling, punctuation, grammar, spag, and vocabulary is also covered. And then also we will cover the verbal reasoning, all the question types that you can expect in the exam, and spatial and verbal reasoning is covered in its entirety, and maths, including problem solving and mental arithmetic, is also covered. Okay, so I've called out those big blocks because those are the four core blocks from which all the 11 plus exams, regardless of which exam you're writing, the exam board or the examining body will kind of use it. Some schools, some counties will only do English and maths, for example. Some don't do maths; they just do English VR and NVR for the first round, so on and so forth. But when I walk you through the plan, I'll tell you why I recommend and encourage all the children to do all the four topics to start with. So the first 3, 4 months, we strongly encourage that your child go through all of it. Fundamentally, there's a reason why. Firstly, learning nonverbal and verbal reasoning is a helpful skill anyway. It improves their aptitude, problem-solving skills, their ability to explain nonverbal things. That is a good skill to have anyway, regardless of the exam. But also bear in mind, the schools are perfectly entitled to change their exam format. It has happened quite a few times in the last few years, where schools have switched from one exam format to another exam halfway through the year. So we don't want to kind of assume that the school is going to stick to, let's say there is a school which only does English and maths today. And if you decide not to teach your children NVR and VR as an example, it is quite possible come March, April, there is a possibility that they switch to GL, for example, and suddenly VR and NVR is included. So this has happened on more than occasions in the last few years. And hence, the first few months, as I will show you on the plan, I recommend you kind of go through all the the blocks that we kind of teach. By the way, if you have any questions as I'm going through, please feel free to post them on the chat, and I'll pick them up at the end. So how's this? What's our approach? What's going to change from those of you who are here last year for year four, and some of you are new, but that's fine. Firstly, the online interactive sessions will continue. The big difference is going to be there's going to be 2 sessions a week now because there is so much content that we need to cover. Parul Jain, don't be surprised. I wanted to make it 4 sessions, but then I thought two is good enough for now. That's not Parul, is it? That's Sia. Apologies. That's 2 sessions a week. So there's going to be one session over a weekend, which is either a Saturday or a Sunday, and then a weekday session for 90 minutes. It's going to be either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So I've already split children into smaller groups. There was no judgment-based decision made, randomly selected, split across. And as I said, we're not selective. We don't want to kind of do that just yet. So you will be told which days your lessons will be after today's meeting. So you'll get an email. There is, of course, you can tell me, for example, if you can't do Saturday and Monday, but instead you want to go for Sunday and Tuesday, for example, let us know. I think within means we can swap them around at this stage. It's not a problem. Um, I'll talk about the rest later. But so firstly, note that there's going to be 2 sessions a week. It's not one. The weekend session is going to be for 2 hours, and the weekday session is going to be for an hour and a half, 90 minutes. You will get only one homework. You can breathe easy now. So there's only one homework pack still. But as you see, the homework will cover what's been taught in the session. From this year, we'll also introduce 2 additional things to the homework pack. One is a printable version of not the entire homework of some topics that we create and give it to you. Feel free to print, if you want to avoid screen time or if your child prefers to do it on a paper, you can use that. But that is not a substitute for the online homework. You will still have some elements of it which the online portal will mark automatically and give you some feedback as well. So you have to do that. But this year, we're also introducing a printable version of a subset of the homework, if you like. There is also going to be a stretch component to the homework. So there are 2 types of luck. It's always a spread, right? It's a kind of a gradient of a spread. Some children kind of find the homework good enough. I'm happy just finishing due. But there are some who always kind of almost harass us in the class going, can we have more homework? Can I have harder questions? Which is good, right? We need to encourage that also. So we're going to include a stretch component to the homework, which is optional. If your child wants to do it, they can do it. If not, that's fine. It's not compulsory. But the other 2 components are compulsory. So make sure the homework is done on time. Um, Then we will also be advising pretty much on a month-on-month basis additional book work, so books that you need to purchase and use. Some of it we'll provide digital copies, but some you'll have to buy. We'll let you know as we go through that. And as we go through, you will see we cover a topic or two, and then there will be a topic-based test, and there will be regular revision and all that. But based on how your child is learning and if there are any areas that we think certain children need to improve on, we don't want to leave them behind, or we don't want the gap to kind of widen as we go and cover other topics. So there will be regular boot camps and workshops. This typically happens during your half term, or when there are kind of breaks in between. So watch out that when we invite students, certain students to these boot camps and workshops where we believe there is a benefit, and we need to bridge the gap. I already mentioned there's going to be tests regularly, and based on the outcome of the test, there will be a lot of revision. And once we cover all the syllabus, we'll switch to mock exams and practice packs, previous year's question papers, and all that. So that's pretty much what we do. It's going to be quite intense period for everybody. And it is important that we put the right support, right structure around your children. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going to happen. By the way, this time the children are starting their exam on the 2nd of September in 2 days' time, the ones who are taking the exam this year. So this time next year, all the children here will be ready to do the exam themselves, right? Some are doing 1 or 2 exams, some are doing 6 exams, but that's okay. We'll talk about what exams to write and how you kind of de-risk yourself and all that nearer the time for registration. But what I'm saying is 1 year will fly, okay? And we can't just sit here and think it's fine, we have time. The exams will be here upon embarking upon us before we know. So we don't want to lose any time, okay? So I'm going to split the kind of time frame between now, it's late September, until when the exams are done and you apply for the actual grammar schools or comprehensive schools, I guess, depending on what your preference is. So the first block I want to talk to is, between now and end of January or mid-February. So this is where the bulk, in fact, the entirety of the syllabus across the 4 topics we discussed, English, Maths, VR, and VR, will be covered. There will be regular revision. We teach them, we revise them, we test them, revise them again, test them again, and there will be topic-based mock tests as well. And this is a very important phase, right? So if your child can't attend a lesson session for whatever reason, it can happen. Please make sure you let us know so that we can give them an alternative session. That's very important. We're running this year, we're running 5 or 6 parallel batches. We have deliberately cut them down into smaller batches. I think there are 5 or 6 batches that are going to run. So pretty much if you miss a Saturday session, you can move to Sunday, for example, and so on and so forth. But please make sure your child doesn't miss lessons, especially during that period. It's very important. Um, then beginning of March, we're going to have another session with everybody in this group here to talk about the specific schools and exam formats that you should be preparing for. So between now and February, it's all going to be common because we're building the actual foundation of based on the syllabus. But then March, April, and May is where we kind of start to split you or your children by the exams they're going to take. So there may be some children who only will do SX schools, CSSE. There could be some children who only do GL type exams. There will be a large proportion, I'm sure, will do both, right? But at least this is a point where we kind of start to focus on the exam format itself and what techniques your child should be following by the exam type. There will be mock exams which will start here. Now, we'll remind you throughout the way. So come May and June, this is where most of the grammar schools open registration for the exam. So you'll have to register um, online most of the cases, but we'll tell you where to go, what link to use and all that. When they open, we tell you. We'll also tell you when the exam registration will close by. And most schools have open days, and I strongly recommend, especially for the schools that you're genuinely interested, it's worth taking your children and do a walkthrough of the school. Just to kind of do use the open days, and it's very good for them to see the school firsthand as well. Um, then continuing from there, June, July is all about practicing, right? This is you're going to have lots of online mock exams, and we're also going to do in-person mock exams. We'll tell you the venue and the date and time near to that. But yeah, there's going to be lots and lots of mock exams, lots of revisions and workshops and all that. For example, the students who are doing the exam next month in a couple of days' time, I think that they've done about 52, 53 mock exams. Okay, just here with us. And you may go, that's a lot, but it is. It is a lot, but it is needed sometimes. And yeah, so and people do external mock exams as well, but I'm giving you just an indication on the effort required. And then August is literally just the final revision, kind of make sure the childrens are all peaking here, ready to go. There's nothing bothering them. There are no wrinkles around any topics. We just iron them out and get them ready for the exam. Most of the exams will happen in September, and if they have second round, they will happen towards the end of September or early October. But that's the month where the exams will take place. And based on the results, you have to make your application um, on the 31st of October is the deadline for applying to schools. Now, bear in mind, this exam registration is only for you to say that you want your child to take that exam, right? Or exams. And they do the exams in September, October, and then by mid-October, you will have all the results from all the grammar schools. That will tell you which grammar schools your child is eligible for, that they've got the minimum cutoff required, and then you decide you can pick up to five or six schools and you rank them in that order. This is your secondary school application that you do, and that's the deadline for August 31st. Uh, don't bother writing all this down or trying to remember. Firstly, I'll send you this slide deck, and secondly, we will kind of keep reminding you throughout as we go through the year. Um, Sorry, before I forget, so you will have regular sessions like this where we need to kind of broadcast and inform you of certain things. So that's going to happen all the way through to May. But also from March, February, and maybe March onwards, you will have a weekly session open up where you can book one-to-one session with your tutor. If something is bothering you, or you want some feedback, or you want to ask questions, or you want whatever, right? But you'll have to book that, but those sessions will open week on week. So you can book as and when you see the need to speak to the tutor directly with your child. Okay. So that's the high level timeline. As you can see, there's a lot of activities that we'll have to do in there. So if anybody is planning for a long holiday, kiss it goodbye now. Thank you very much. Um, right. Now, this is very important. This is one thing. So if you're thinking, okay, you know what, my child is smart, very, very smart, is brilliant. I'm sounding like Trump now. Let's say you think your child is brilliant, which is good, and you think, I'm going to send my child to a tuition center, and that's it. Really good. They have the content, they have the tutor, they have the laptop, whatever, printer. So I'm good. It's not like that. It's not that easy. Bear in mind, your child spends most of the time at home, right? Outside of the school, they spend most of it at home. We're going to see your child 2 + 1.5, 3.5 hours a week, okay? And maybe, some ad hoc workshops and this and that. So we get 3.5 hours with them while we teach them, and we give them ample material to practice and kind of get that ingrained, the content ingrained. It's absolutely important that you as parent, at least one of you, have to partner with them. Okay. It's a tri-party partnership, right? So we are here, your child is there, but we also need parents. And I can tell you historically, children where the parents have taken an active interest, not necessarily to kind of breathe down their neck, but just to kind of be a friendly advice, be there, have you done this? Have you done that? Right? Put some structure around, give them a plan, give them a pat on the back. Those are the children who end up getting the top marks. Okay. And And it did help. Small things like that, giving them a pat, giving them a hug, and saying, you're doing well. Don't worry, if you get a test or two, or you didn't get to score well. It's about being with them, be their friend. That is very important. And so, to that extent, I'm going to request you, all parents, to make sure you understand the session timings and ensure that attendance is kept up. Then I don't want to tell you guys the importance of the homework. The homework pack will start like the usual homework pack, but as you go through more and more content, we can't keep forgetting what we've done before. So the homework pack, the size will increase, and we expect everybody to complete it. We have a lot of things like merits, trophies, awards, and this and that. You will see all the communication come out to motivate them. But it's important that you kind of explain to them and kind of get into a habit of setting aside some time, like with 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day. It's very important that you instill that discipline and in them from early on. And it's something that's going to stay with them when they go to secondary school. It's very important. So if you get them to that habit now itself, it's very good. Otherwise, they're going to struggle anyway in secondary school when they go there. While we do the tests quite frequently, we will send you the results. I strongly encourage you to look at the results very carefully. Okay. And especially if any of the scores, any of the marks of your child is in marked amber or red, I think you need to pay more attention to that one. We will take a look at that. We do things ourselves, but it's good for you to sit down with your child, understand why something is been marked as an amber or a red. Not to tell them off, but just to understand, right? And then you can talk to us or you can talk to them. We can give you more material, or we can revise the whole thing again if needed and all that. So you need to take an active interest. And the mindset is very important. Make sure it's positive. The environment, they will have enough pressure as it is on them. Please do not compare your child or children to other children. Um, we don't like grown-ups don't like being compared to somebody else, right? It's the same with the children. Sia is smiling. Yes, Sia, that's true. So let's not compare anybody to anybody. Everybody is different. Everybody is unique. Work with what we have and make sure we keep that positive mindset. And the pacing in is very important. There are times when I've noticed children kind of peak at the wrong time. So they are doing really well in April, May, for example. And by the time August comes, there is nothing left in the tank. Okay, they're burnt out. And we don't want that. Which is why I said August is a light month. And we want, when September comes, everybody at their top of the game and ready to go with a positive attitude and mindset. So there is a tendency, not everybody, but some parents, end up sending their children to 5 different tutoring centers and make them do 150 mock exams. Please don't do that. Okay, if you're not happy with us, go to somebody else who you are happy with, but do not overburden them. All right, keep it clean, lean, simple, and if they can do well, they will do here well anyway. So pace them in. That is very important. Let's not bar them out. Reading is, if I know some children don't like reading, some do, some do. Okay, so we will be um, launching a book club on a free book club on top of everything you're going to do to encourage children reading. So we'll give them a specific book to read. I will ask them to come back and just discuss amongst themselves. What do they like? What do they not like? The writing style. What was the intention of the author? Were there any deeper meanings, that you could infer from what you read and all that? It helps to build both their ability to comprehend different types of text, but also it will improve their vocabulary. And it's a skill for life, right? The more children, the more you read, the better person you will be. True story this is. Okay, so if you currently don't read books, start reading them now. It's really good. How many of you read books, by the way, regularly? Sahil Sharma, I'm not talking about English breakfast. I'm just joking. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. But more importantly, do not underestimate the effort required. It's not something that you can do with a prayer and a hope. The effort is required. You genuinely need to make sure you organize yourself around your child as well, and give them ample support that is required. You can talk to us regularly, the WhatsApp and email. We're adding more people to monitor both WhatsApp and email. We probably will also have dedicated 2 hour a day where you can call us directly. So all this will be communicated to you in the next day or two. Okay. Yeah, please do not share and distribute any material. Remember, they're all competitors, so do not share anything. Right. So the other thing I want to tell you is quickly um, you need to start thinking, right? So obviously you live in a certain area. You need to start thinking, what's the closest grammar school? Or more importantly, what's the school where my child can thrive and succeed and do well, right? So never look at school in isolation and go, yeah, that's ranked number one. QE Barnett, for example, is the best school in the country for boys, or Henrietta Barnett is the best school for girls. So you may want to just go by school ranking. Please don't do that. Okay. You pick the school based on your child and what they're good at and what they need help with, not the other way around. So don't just go blindly by the ranking or other things. Okay. So do your analysis, assessment of your child and the school then. Okay. So the things that you should look at. Obviously, you look at the academic performance and how good is the school, right? What kind of grades they get in GCSEs and A levels. Think about, are there any specialization? There are specialized schools. Either it is music, sports, maths, science, for example. So again, you know your child better than anybody else. Where do you want your child to specialize in? So pay attention to that. Some of you already have your email addresses named after en route MIT, Harvard, something along those lines. So it's good. It's good. Like plan ahead, right? And you most certainly you will get there. Um, Also, when you're looking at schools, look what extracurricular opportunities they provide. Some of your children are really good with, I don't know, some sports, cricket, for example, rugby, and whatnot. So check whether that school has a presence in that space. And then school environment and culture, right? Most grammar schools are really good, but some are better than the others. So take a look at the culture of the school, what support they provide for the students in terms of pastoral care. Location is very important. Some parents move. In fact, most of the parents that we know end up moving because for us, our children and their future is paramount. So every year, probably 60% of the parents end up moving because by choice. They move to a better area. As a result, they get better schools and all that. But some parents obviously are stuck because of their work, the business, whatever. So take that into account when you're researching for schools. This is very important. Look where the kids end up going to, which universities they go to. And don't be fooled by when people say Russell universities or whatever. Look at the specific universities. So ask questions like how many of the children end up going to the top tier, like the Oxford, the Cambridge, the LSEs, or Imperial. That is what matters, right? So we want our children. The whole point of us getting them to a good grammar school or secondary school is not just that we get good grades in GCSEs or A levels. It's beyond that, the uni, right? Where are these children ending up? So take a look at that one. So don't just look at the GCSE results on a ranking of the school. By all means, take a speak to friends, people that are in the school already. And as I mentioned, every school runs an open day, so make sure you use that. Visit the school, check their facilities, okay, and then make an educated decision on that one. But most important thing, you need to ask yourself, is this a school that suits my child's personality and preferences? Not the other way around. Don't try and force your child to go to a top grammar school just because it's number one, whereas your child, may not like the kind of pressure they will be putting through. Look, some children thrive when you put them through academic rigor and academic pressure. Some children really like that kind of, and if anything, it makes them behave and perform better. But not everybody is the same, right? So you need to balance it out and think through this carefully. So, you don't need to do anything just yet, but start researching, start looking at the schools, your catchment areas, We will tell you all the key dates and when the open days. But for now, just start to think about what schools, what are the options. Okay. And every school, most schools have different exam formats. The good news is bulk of the schools have now gone with GL assessment. GL assessment is an exam body which sets the paper. So a lot of schools like the QE boys I was talking about, Kent, Henrietta Barnett, Bucks, Bexley, they all use GL. Redbridge also use GL. And they all switched from other exam formats in the recent past. The Essex grammar schools, except the Chelmsford County Girls School, use what we call CSSE. This is maths and English only, which has creative writing as well. Then FSC for Chelmsford County and Reading. Again, some schools use their own exam format, selective eligibility test, so on and so forth. You don't have to worry about this because what we are covering will cater for all of it, and then we fine tune to the specific schools as well. You can go to the Progress Academy website, the progress-academy.org UK, and click on this How to Prepare tab. And here you have a list of all the grammar schools. You can search by the name of the grammar school or area, and it tells you, for example, how does it rank, how many places are available, and whether it's a boys only school or girls only school, and all that information is there. So feel free to kind of go to the website and check that one. Okay, yeah, please to start researching. I have a spreadsheet which has a list of all the grammar schools. I'm more than happy to send it. It's even kind of split by the area, like Essex, for example, or Bucks, and so on and so forth. You may want to use that also. I'll send that over to you guys. Okay, I'm not going to rub this in, but please make sure there is a consistent study routine. Don't leave it up to them. And you need to have a process. You need to have a routine, set time. Um, to do their work every day. Make sure the homework and the book work is regularly finished. Don't leave it. If you take your eye off it, things will start to fall apart. And be positive, encourage them. Don't be too harsh if they get bad marks or whatever in one of the tests or two of the tests. Um, and of course, as we are all learning as we go through, we are learning about your children and they're learning new topics, new subjects. So let's be constructive and see how we kind of both can get better. Then, as I said, please encourage reading variety of textbooks. In fact, on the website, there is a recommended books list by the year group. So I'll also send you the link. Take a look at those books. There are two reasons why that exists. One, it gives you a variety of text to read. Secondly, a large chunk of the exam passages come from those books. Okay, so it's good to read those books as well. Okay, and please talk to us regularly. Okay, some parents are really good at this, some aren't, some are shy. That's okay. Um, just messages, call us, whatever. So we'll be more than happy to work with you on that. Keep an eye on your children, though, right? Having said all that, we should not lose sight that they are 9, 10-year-old little boys and girls, right? Um, so if something is bothering them, if they're taking too much stress, it's no good, right? So we need to take a step back and reassess, how do we calibrate things, right? So keep an eye on that. You are the best judge of your kids, so keep an eye on that one. And then we need to be reasonable with our expectations. As I said, do not compare your child with other children. That what do they say about Sharmajika Beta? So we have a Sharmajika Beta. Let's not talk about him. So do not compare your children with anybody else, right? They're all little gems in their own way. So let's appreciate that. Let's respect that. Let's love them, cuddle them up. But equally, we need to kind of push them a little bit and set realistic targets because at the end of the day, it's for their own good. Okay. I think a couple of things, kind of administrative stuff. If you have any questions on homework or access to portal or test results itself, that's the email address which gives you a straight away any kind of help you need, which is coursework@progressacademy.org.uk. I'll send you this email. And if you have any general inquiries, for example, you want to you want an additional creative writing course added, whatever, general inquiries, right? Or when is the exam going, or exam registration is going to open, or can I speak to the tutor, whatever. Just use support at Progress Academy. That way, there are different teams dealing with those emails, so you will get better service straight away. And the last and probably the most important thing I'm going to say is we do not have a WhatsApp group. So please do not accept any invites to any WhatsApp group that claim to be Progress Academy. We don't have WhatsApp group because it's prone to a lot of issues, and we will never ask you to give us any kind of OTP or anything. So please, this hasn't happened with us, but it has happened elsewhere. People have given lost their WhatsApp account because somebody pretending to be some academies kind of sent them messages, and they have put the OTP, and suddenly 2 minutes later they don't have access to WhatsApp. All the passwords changed, and somebody's kind of messaged all the contacts on that WhatsApp, asking, "I need money. Something has gone wrong with me," pretending to be one of you, right? So it's not good. So which is why we canned all the WhatsApp groups. What we do have though is a broadcast list. So it's a one-way communication. We push information as and when needed. You will get it as long as you have added that number as a contact in your mobile phone. Okay, so make sure you have the Progress Academy number saved as a contact. And if there is any kind of last minute information we need to give you, we'll email you for sure. But if you want to get your attention on something fairly quickly, then we will use the broadcast to publish a message out, and it will come to you as long as you have our contact. So please do not join any WhatsApp groups that claim to be Progress Academy. We don't have a WhatsApp group at all. Right. So that takes me to the last section, which is Q&A. Okay. I don't think, oh, there's some questions here. Naira is saying, good to see your face. Thanks, Naira. Much appreciated. That's not really my face, by the way. And Takshita is asking, is this session recorded? Yes, it is recorded. We'll make the link available. Okay, Sanika is asking, I heard that not every school has the same syllabus. How can we take care of that aspect? Are we teaching the common parts only? I think I covered this already, but to sum it up, what we're going to do from September 6th is when the lessons are starting, which is next Saturday. From then up until end of January or mid-February, all we're going to do is cover the syllabus in its entirety. Okay, that syllabus, what we're going to cover, will work for any grammar school in the country. And it works for most independent schools also. So there's no problem with that one. But after February, we're going to sit down with you and discuss what specific schools that you want to apply for, and then we're going to redistribute children based on your preferred schools, preferred exams. So we're not just teaching common parts, we're teaching everything up until February, and then we branch out for the individual specialisms we need. There's another question from Sanika. Are schools considering scores of any particular subjects or average or overall scores? Say schools with sports as an advantage consider some particular sections or areas in exams. Yes and yes. Okay. So normally what happens is when your child does the exam, there are the main way of getting into a grammar school is through your academics, right? So which is you go through the entrance exam, the 11 plus exam. Some schools have only one exam, some have two rounds of exams. Regardless, there is what you call a standardization that happens. Um, they kind of most of them attach different weightages to different parts of the test. So, for example, they may go 25% of the weightage will go to maths, 25% will go to, or 30% will go to English, for example, so on and so forth. And we'll tell you once we know which exam you're going to take, we'll tell you the weightage and how it works. After the weightage allocation, there is also something called as age standardization that kicks in. So age standardization is where your child gets given a bit of additional marking if they are very young. So for example, in an academic year group, you have children who are born in, I don't know, September versus children who are born in August. But there is almost 11 months or maybe 12 months at times gap between the youngest and the oldest, but they're in the same academic year. And they don't want any child to be disadvantaged. So the children who are kind of born later or who are younger, they tend to be given some additional marks. There is a formula for that, which I'll walk you through later. Let's not burden ourselves with that information just yet. So that is the score eventually that gets published to you. You will not know how much mark was added. They don't take any marks out, but they may add some marks for younger children. But that's literally between 5 and 15 marks. But that could be substantial, make a big difference in the end. So if you have children who are kind of relatively young in their year group, you can be happy. Otherwise, there is nothing you need to worry about, right? If you do well in the exam, then everything will fall into place. The second part of the question, schools with sports. Yes, there are schools which also have a set number of grammar schools, which have set number of places available for kids with extraordinary abilities in music, for example. Some schools are specialist in music, and it's not unusual for music test to happen, and then on that basis, they will give you a place. Sports is another one, okay? But again, you need to pick the individual schools and look at what their selection criteria is. But they're all options, and academics, music, and sports are the three usual avenues you can get through. But bulk of it is academic normally for grammar schools. Okay. Okay, Mahin Patel is asking something about password. I'll pass that on to the support team to get that unlocked. Um, which day will the homework be set and which day it is expected to complete? Amaya is asking this question. Okay, so I don't know yet, but again, because it depends on which group you're going to be in. But let's say you're in a Saturday or a Sunday batch, one of the batches that runs in those 2 days. Your homework will typically come on Monday, and you are expected to finish by the next Sunday evening, by Sunday evening. Right? So it gives you a week anyway to do your homework. And the second question she's asking is about the homework content. If there are anything in there that was not taught in the class, what do we do? In that case, there are two things there. One is it could be a genuine mistake on our part because we want to teach you something, but say we ran out of time because there were more questions on some other topic. But the homework pack is already made to the plan, so it may come through. It can happen. If that happens, you know how to do them, well and good. If you don't know how to do them, there is a homework forum. Just put a message there saying you're skipping that because this is not being done in the class. So what they do is they strip that out and push it to the next week's homework. The second possibility is that you remember I talked about the stretch questions, stretch component in the homework pack. We deliberately give you questions that will stretch you. It may be in most cases linked to what you were taught in the class, but we also may go beyond. But if that is the case, don't worry about the stretch ones. Okay, right, and move on to teach. Last year, we already covered most of the syllabus. Tej, where are you? She's trouble, isn't she? We did not cover most of it. We just scratched the surface, Tej. There is a lot more to go. But yeah, so we'll recover some of those basics for sure, but we'll go into a lot deeper and a lot advanced as well. And Tej is going to be in India for 2 months. Okay, not a good idea, but that's okay. She can attend the weekday lessons. It may be a bit too late for her because the earliest one's at 5, I think. That would still be like 9:30 or 10:30, depending on the summer lights. Somebody's asking, can we get the syllabus? Yes, you'll be given the full length of the syllabus, and we're going to give you the plan as to how you are broken up and cover what and when. Vaibhavika is asking, does this mean syllabus will be over by February? Yes, the bulk of all of the syllabus that we want to cover will be done by February. That doesn't mean that you'll be ready for the exam. The real fun starts after that. It's one thing to say, I know how to find percentages, for example, and I can answer, or I know how to deal with mixed numbers and converting fractions and all that. It's another thing then to say, put them all together to solve a problem. Okay. And the exam questions are going to be like that, where you need to break up the problem statement into smaller steps and work out what do I apply here and what's the most efficient way to get to the answer without making silly mistakes, right? It's that thing that's going we're going to focus after that. And also at this stage, if I teach you something today, there's a very good chance if you don't revise and redo something about it, you'll forget about it in 3 weeks' time. And that happens even now, right? So we need to make sure we stay on top of that. Any particular suggestion to start with reading? Absolutely. I'll send you the link after the lesson. There is a link on the website where it has a list of books that we would recommend for this age group. Um, is there a difference between grammar school and super selective school? Well, I mean, super selective is the one that kind of normally is a grammar school because most grammar schools are selective in nature. Super selective are the ones which are really hard, difficult to get into. Take an example of Henrietta Barnett or Queen Elizabeth's for boys. You have almost 4,000 boys take the test, and there are 180 places. Yeah. Um, so competition is high, but there's a reason why those schools are uh, so highly regarded. My son goes there, so I know it's a great school, right? And from not just academic, in every sense of the way. Um, we'll talk about all this as we go on. Uh, Girls have more creative writing weightage. Is it true? Not necessarily, but I think that there is a merit to that in that schools like Henrietta Barnett, some schools have creative writing, some schools don't have. So if you talk about purely the top two schools like QE Boys and Henrietta Barnett, QE Boys has no writing, creative writing, all multiple choice, just English and maths done. Henrietta Barnett has 2 rounds. There is a lot of creative writing, written exam as well. So on that basis, maybe, but it depends on the school that you're applying. You can't generalize it and say girls have more weightage. Um, Age standardization, how many marks? Is it fixed? It's not fixed. It's a formula they use. So for every day the child is younger by the median average of the age of the students taking the exam, there is a little mark added. But we've seen it vary from 5 to 15, right? But some of these super selective schools we're talking about, even 1 mark makes a big difference. Okay. Um, what to do with overreading kids? I don't understand this. Ovi, what's that mean?
She reads a lot, except her homework and studies. She just keeps on reading and reading and reading.
Mom, were you complaining? Let her read. It's a good thing.
But then she's not doing her homework or
Oh,
study.
that one. Yeah, no, no, we will sort that out. Don't worry, Ovi is a good kid. I'm pretty sure she'll be fine. Be nice to your kid. Come on. Um, okay, how to search for subject-based school like specialized for maths, history, medicine. Let me walk you through that. That's fine. I think we will have a similar session in February, um, where we'll be focused more on the schools, and I'll talk you through what to do. Somebody's asking for the Excel spreadsheet. I shall send you the Excel spreadsheet. Manvita is asking, can we get detailed answer for every question? Manvita. Vinnam. என்னம்மா பண்ற? Yes, that's fine. That's okay. We can do that. No problem. Prisha Chowdhury. Um, I'm assuming you're talking about the real exam. The question is, do we get a chance to verify answers, or do they just publish the result? I'm assuming you're talking about the real exams. They don't give you the actual details or the breakdown. Um, some schools allow you to kind of ask them to double check whether they have marked it correctly. Like in the few years, for example, I think some parents wrote to QE, Queen Elizabeth, about, we were expecting my kid to get 240 and above, but, he's got only 220, whatever. Can you double check? They do come back and say, we double checked, that's the score, but you don't get any breakdown or access to the actual paper itself. No. Most of it's kind of marked by the computers, especially those GL exams. So there is very little room for error. Um, Okay, so question about is there any way to get the previous week's homework in case my child was not able to complete by time? We genuinely recommend you to not to backlog, create a big backlog of homeworks. Do it on the week itself. Merits will be given only to those children who finish all of it with accuracy and on time or before time, right? And I can understand maybe there's one week when the child was, had some other plans or of sick, whatever. That we can make exceptions if it is one week here and there, but generally the session is still available. We only hide it. We don't delete it. We don't remove it, and we will make that available as once we finished all the syllabus for you to go back and look at it. The reason why we take that away week on week is simply because we don't want children to create a backlog thinking it's there and I can do it next week or whatever. Okay, we're running out of time, but maybe okay, the same. There's Sudarshan Athor has asked the same question on the homework pack we covered. Um, okay, how do we identify a weak area of my children? Is there any one-to-one session of my kids' performance so as to focus on the weak areas? A great question. Yes, Raj. So this is what I was saying. So we do regular tests. When the test results are out, we kind of color code them red, amber, green, and then it gets sent to you, and the tutor will also take a look at that one for two reasons. When we look at it, we identify certain students, for example, maybe they are struggling in NVR or one type of question, whatever. As I said, we will create separate like a booster session or whatever and invite only those kids who need help to make sure we kind of help them with that topic that we do on our part. On your part, of course, you have the same results and same marking and everything. You pay attention to that also. Beyond that, we will also have, I think weekly, I said you will get a chance to speak to the tutor one-on-one um, as well. So you just have to book a meeting and then you can speak to them and we can talk more about it. And we will have a database of all their performance, how they're doing in the homeworks, for example, do they finish on time? Where they're scoring well in homework, where they're losing marks, for example. We have that information. We also have all the test information, where they're doing well, where they're not doing well. So when you have that one-to-one, we'll use that to talk to you. We use that also to plan the next set of sessions. Will the student be given direction on timed test as well? I wouldn't worry too much about time at this stage. Okay, probably up until February, I wouldn't worry about time. Time management, yes, we need to worry, but we'll probably talk about that starting March. Right now, I would encourage everybody to focus on accuracy, getting the questions right. Okay, and if they make mistakes, understand why they've made that mistakes is the most important thing. Speed, time management will come. Okay, right. Okay, so this is the next question. We heard the state school children have higher chances of getting into good universities compared to students in grammar school. Is that true? Um, it was true for a couple of years. So especially Oxford and Cambridge were consciously making a difference between kids who are well trained versus kids who are coming from state schools and from areas that aren't developed well. But that's changed. I think they did for 2 or 3 years. They've realized the quality of the students that are coming out. They have kind of canned that one now, right? So I don't think you get penalized for coming from a grammar school anymore. There is still a distinction between um, private schools, independent schools versus grammar schools or state-run schools, but that is also kind of very marginal. If you park all that, it only matters when you have, like, if you take two students who are identical in every sense of the way, they have the same A-level results, they have a very similar personal statement, they're equally strong, and then universities need a way to distinguish. And let's say there's only one place available, but two candidates are identical in every sense and then they have to look at what school did they go to, and based on the school, look, so if for example one of them come from um, a state school in Eastham, for example, which is considered to be um, underdeveloped area, if you like, versus somebody who went to I don't know, QE Boys is a good example. Supposed to be a top school. All the kids there, kind of end up getting great grades because the tutoring is good and all that. Then they probably will still prefer the guy coming from a state school. But that is a extreme edge case scenario we're talking about, right? I think you're better off in a grammar school than sending them to a state school and hoping for the best. Okay, I think there's one time for one last question. Right. It was let's unpick. How much was covered in year four? Just trying to. Right, you didn't miss anything. No, look, when we start year five, we're gonna assume that you have forgotten. You had a good holiday. You've forgotten everything. But obviously, there will be some topics that we kind of skim through because we expect you to know them. Some topics we're gonna take our time to drill it in. So don't worry about it. If you started halfway through in year four, don't worry about it. Or if you're just starting now, also don't worry about it. If we, as I said, I keep saying this, if we realize there is a student who's slightly disadvantaged, or a few students who are disadvantaged because they're starting now, or their school hasn't done something they should have done, or they weren't here before, we will run extra lessons for them, what we call booster sessions, to bridge that gap. Okay. A few more questions, but I think we're out of time. So I'm going to stop there. But it's really good to see you all. Okay, Vaibhavika wants to go and have dinner. It's right, it's really good to see you all. And if you have any questions that I haven't answered, please, WhatsApp, email, whatever, and I'll come back to you straight. And look, as I said, this year is going to be very important for many reasons. This sets them up in the right direction, sets them up very well for success. So please make sure that you put all the support that you can, and you will. I'm pretty sure. And if you have any questions, at any point in time you're not sure of something, is this working or not working? Feel free to reach out. That's fine. Okay, I'll stop there and I'll let you all have enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll speak to you hopefully soon. Take care now. Bye bye. Okay, let me know when you can see the slides, please. Thank you. Arohi, can you see my screen? That's good. Excellent. Very good.